to our video on disability and culture. In our video, we will discuss the ancient culture of disabilities, starting with ancient nomads and then connect it to modern-day social culture. Disability culture dates all the way back to 1500 BC with the ancient nomadic tribes of the time. They had considered people with disabilities to be useless due to the fact they could not contribute as much to the overall well-being of the tribe. People with disabilities were often left to die whenever the tribe relocated. This may seem like it wouldn't happen all too often, but nomads are literally known for moving around a lot, so this happens quite a bit. Now flash forward to the Greeks. They attempted to explain the natural phenomena that occurred with supernatural beings. This led them to be wary of people with disabilities. The major result of this was that they believed that epilepsy was a mental disturbance. Ironic, coming from a culture based around the supernatural. They also had a misconception that people who were deaf could not learn as they could not learn language, and they valued language for learning. At this time, sign language was not yet invented. The Greek culture was actually so influential that a common word we use today is derived from them. As described in Professor Schuller's and Professor Petrov's PowerPoints about disability culture, the word idiot comes from the Greek word idios, referring to a person who is not a public official. It then came to refer to one who lacked professional knowledge and later to one who was ignorant or ill-informed. This ancient culture will have an impact on the next eras of history.
For the period of early Christianity brought a period of sympathy and pity for people with disabilities. This means that instead of discrimination, society started to feel bad for people with disabilities. Well, this is better than a discrimination. This is not an ideal situation since they are not seen as equal. Churches during this time period organized service for people with disabilities in order to help them in society. However, not all parts of the time period was good. Many Christians held in God complex over the people with disabilities as a way to realize they are lost in the economy. The general conception of this time period was that disability was an impurity which could be purged with worship and forgiveness of their sins.
The Middle Ages' approach to people with disabilities was indifference, neglect, and fear. The first institution was created in 787 AD, and more soon followed. These institutions mostly imprisoned people with disabilities instead of actually treating them. One of these institutions, St. Mary of Bethlehem, founded in 1247, became Bedlam, derived from Bethlehem, and was founded to house those deprived of reason. The people who lived in Bedlam were treated inhumanely. People were chained and lived in squalor. People with disabilities were also used as entertainment. Nobility used fools and court jesters. The creation of idiot cages also allowed people with disabilities to be used in this way. Sometimes segregation became complete removal. Shipping the people of a town with disabilities to other places to be rid of them led to the belief in the ship of fools. This segregation was partially motivated by economic survival, as people with disabilities tended to be the poorest in an area.
During the Renaissance, medical care and treatment for people with disabilities was introduced. For the first time in Western history, education was available to people with disabilities. People in the community with disabilities were even encouraged to participate in their community activities, which was a big step for this time. Despite the fact that people with disabilities were able to be more active in their community, some were still institutionalized and were persecuted. More recently, even our own president has made some rude comments toward a reporter with a disability. He imitated the man's physical appearance and made fun of the way he acted and expressed his feelings. This illustrates the common attitude that modern society has in regards to people with disabilities. Another important factor to the growing acceptance of people with disabilities was a credo of support. This was a long statement or saying of people with disabilities explaining what disability means to them and how they want to be treated. It states things like, "Do not try to fix me because I am not broken," or "Do not use theories and strategies on me." The credo of support was also made into a video, and it is very moving and emotional. Passing is a newer saying in current culture. Passing is when people don't really want to accept their race, disability, or differences from the norm, so they just let it go and let people say what they want without correcting them or standing up for who they are. Leonard J. Davis said, "Individuals may choose to pass in order to avoid the stigma attached to disability, but doing so can be viewed negatively by others who assume the person is passing in order to receive the privileges of the dominant group."